What's up, guys? We are back with another SH MonsterArts Godzilla figure, which of course means we are taking a look at the Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Kong, the latest and greatest in all things legendary Godzilla, and I am definitely excited to take a look at this guy. This makes the third or fourth MonsterArts Godzilla I've gotten my hands on, and they're all exciting, they're all fun, so this is definitely one that I wanted to take a look at because I absolutely love this movie. We watched it, I can't even remember how many times we watched it at this point, and it was just a ton of fun. So of course, the toys are a must-have. We've got him here in a pretty standard style box for a MonsterArts Godzilla. It's a very familiar form factor, so you've got a big product shot there on the front. You've got the yellow, orangey, and blue color scheme that was used for the promotional material for the movie. And then you've got a product shot on one side panel. You've got just the nameplate on the other side panel, and then the back of the box has a bunch of product shots, shows what he does, how he moves, but it also has our window where we can actually see the figure inside. So let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our SH MonsterArts Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Kong. My favorite when it comes to, picking one of the two because, well, I mean, look at him. It's Godzilla. This is the one and only when it comes to kaiju. If you have to have one, it's got to be the big man himself. And this figure is pretty solid. It's lacking a few things, I think, when it comes to accessories, but as far as the base figure goes, I'm pretty happy here. It is very reminiscent of some other figures that we've gotten recently, like the King of All Monsters Godzilla, the event exclusive, the burning one. It all feels very similar, but there's of course some different stuff here. And then of course this particular version is rocking this just awesome paint job. I love everything about what's going on back here. So let's get started, see what this guy can do, see how he moves around. He's what you would expect. If you have experience with this version of Godzilla in MonsterArts, you kind of know what's going on here. So we've got a head. He's got a movable jaw, so it does move up and down. You can kind of close the mouth a little bit. You can tilt the head side to side really good. Up, really, really nice as well. And then, of course, he looks down a good bit. You do have more rotation and sort of cricking of the neck in some ways at the base of the neck. There's certain points, as you can see, there's a lot of plates on this figure. There's certain points where they actually do move the figure versus just sort of hiding all the joint work. You do have up and down tilt here at the diaphragm. Is that his diaphragm? I'm really not sure at this point. There's a little bit of wobble, but not anything in terms of rotation. That's going to occur down here, and it does seem to be pretty tight, but you can kind of get him to move side to side. Actually pretty good, better than I expected. So you can get him to sort of crook his whole body from side to side, which I do really like. There is a little bit of give there when it comes to moving him up and down as well. Not so much as that section above him. The arms will go out about this far. They don't really go out all that far, which is pretty normal. They do rotate all the way around, so you can sort of move them in and out. There is a double jointed elbow, which gives you really good range. I mean, that's really nice there. And then you've got your hinge up and down at the wrist, which is pretty robust. And then you've got full rotation. The legs will sort of bobble in and out of the socket there. It's just a ball peg, so you can bobble them in and out, kind of like splaying those legs outward. And then they rotate in there as well. You've got your knee joint. It doesn't really do a lot, but it's Godzilla, so I'm not too surprised here. You've got a little bit of tilt side to side on the ankles, and then forward and backward a little bit. And there is rotation down there as well. So the base figure it's very Godzilla-esque. I mean, he's a big, chunky figure, so I don't expect it to move super dynamically. Of course, I don't think most people do anyway. But he does have some pretty good articulation just to get him in some nice, expressive poses. And then the tail is, of course, articulated as well. And this is one that I've had to, work on a little bit more than I expected to get it to move a little bit more. So you can, of course, see you can sort of crook it all the way around like this. You're going to do that probably as you're kind of experiencing how to move him. This is the key point right here, is where it really starts to move, is the base of the tail. And then you can get him to go up, to go something like that, or then get it kicked out to the side, and then up and around. But you're just going to have to watch that tail joint. That's kind of what holds it all together. And then at the base here, sort of like his Godzilla butt, I suppose, you can crook the entire tail from side to side. outside of the joint right here. So there is a good bit of posability when it comes to this figure. He does rest on the tail quite a bit though, so you might have to watch him in terms of balancing. He does want to sort of lurch back, which I don't think is too unexpected for this particular figure. But otherwise, not too much worry when it comes to posing this guy once you figure out what moves and where it moves. Now, aesthetically, this is where I was honestly kind of concerned for a bit, because I wasn't really sure how I was going to like, well, all this color back here. And at first, it seemed stupid because, well, that's the kind of thing I like, is like really gaudy, metallic, flashy paint schemes. But I wasn't really sure how what was going to work for Godzilla on this particular figure. Something about it just seemed kind of odd. But once you have it in hand, I mean, it's the thing that is immediately going to catch your eye. And I really like it. I think it's pretty fantastic. It is still a very familiar kind of figure. He is going to be very reminiscent of the last sets of Godzilla figures from the Legendary Pictures stuff. But I think this guy's color scheme is really what drives him home, because something about him having this gaping mouth full of just this metallic, like Arctic blue almost, like, you know, if that's the best way to describe it, looks fantastic. And then of course this runs the entirety of the spines all the way down to the very tip of the tail. The rest of the figure is very Godzilla-esque. There's a little bit of a wash in the scales here and there, but he's mostly just covered in texture. There is a little bit of paint like on the underbelly just to kind of bring out some of the lighter tones on the underside of the figure, but it's all going to be the fine, intricate detail of the scales and the spines, because of course these things are loaded with sculpt. They're absolutely textured like to the gills. And then of course the paintwork itself is going to capture your eye. It's going to reflect whatever light you're throwing at it, because this thing just wants to light up, especially under some super bright lights. I mean, it looks like he's about to use his atomic breath, which I think is fantastic. This alone kind of sells the idea of what his power set is. And then of course the sculpt on its own is pretty fantastic to begin with. Like, there's really nothing to complain about when it comes to the look of this figure. I think he's pretty spot on. It's really nicely sized. The head sculpt is really well done with that open mouth, the sort of the gaping maw that you've got in there. And then of course even the tongue is done up with that blue. Again, this very much does give off the idea that he's doing an atomic blast or about ready to just unload. And that's kind of the area where I feel like this guy's a little bit lacking, like I said, because he doesn't come with an atomic blast. The only accessories that he comes with are two hands. So you get these replacement hands. He's got these sort of open palm hands on him in the box, but you've got these sort of more tightly gripping hands. Like, you know, if you wanted to throw something goofy in his hands, these are the hands you're gonna use. But he doesn't have anything else. So there is no effect part. There's no energy effect, no atomic blast, which I do think is kind of a miss on this guy. It stands to reason that we might get one at some point down the road with this particular line, to have one that includes a blast. But I wish he had one, because it would just it'd be a nice way to cap off this look, this color scheme. And then of course, you know, when you do something like that and you just get everything sort of lit up, it just looks like he's about to do it. So he looks fantastic on his own. He does come with a pretty minimal, almost non-existent amount of accessories. It's not something we haven't seen before when it comes to stuff like this, but at the same time, I do feel like I'm missing out on not having an energy effect here. So yeah, this guy's pretty solid. If you're into SH MonsterArts, if you're into Godzilla stuff, there's likely something about this guy that is going to be on your radar. He moves well. He looks absolutely fantastic. That is definitely my main draw for this particular figure, even though I was kind of concerned about that color scheme. Once you have it in hand, I think you're going to be really excited with it, because honestly, it's a great representation of Godzilla, and this color scheme is just, it's wild, and it's going to look fantastic, and it's going to draw your eye. I do, however, of course, think that he is, you know, definitely missing when it comes to some accessories, just because of the fact, you know, there isn't really anything here. He does come with a couple extra hands, which do help with some expressive posing, and just to be able to change things up. But as usual, an effect part is always going to kind of win me and throw things a little bit over the top, and he is, of course, without one here. So that's going to do it for this look at the SH MonsterArts Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Kong. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.